It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The ULike Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at ULike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. ULike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
Hey, it's the Pete Sousa Show. There we go. We are live. We're back in the Alico building, and we are, as always, presented by Slovaceks. Scotty Swingler on the wheels of steel here as we get it started. Scotty's got a new, new spot he's in today. Maybe we should turn the camera a little bit, right? Like there's a lot of wall by Joe Namath. What do you think, Scotty? I mean, this is just an assumption, right? Like, okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's better. No, I like it when you can see the full effects of the studio. But as we've talked about in the past, like we leave here. Oh, can we turn that light on, Scotty? We leave here for that one. We don't have the power cord for it. All right. We leave here on a short respite, and like people just come in and just do whatever they want. So that's kind of what TCU did last night. So I guess we'll just keep with the theme, right? the Pete Sousa Show, like I said, presented by Slovacics. Of course, Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, First National Bank of Central Texas. I'm going to be headed over to Socorro Family Ford soon here. We got to get the old stepson or the son. I don't even know what he is. He's my man, Caden. We got to get him a car. And Christy wants to go someplace we can trust. And that's why we're going to stop by Socorro Family Ford. The only thing is I'm like, Christy, I need Brian and the folks at Socorro Family Ford to know, like, I'm not looking for a hookup, dude. I just want a car, like, and she's like, well, we just want to trust. I'm like, yeah, but he might get the wrong idea. So I am not looking for a hookup. I'm not like a hookup guy. I was back in the day. I was always looking for an angle. Not anymore. No angles last night for North Carolina. Bill Belichick's debut was really, really rough. I appreciated the hype. I'm aboard the hype train. I thought it was a lot of fun leading up to it. Sonny Dykes obviously did not feel the same way. I am not here to break the game down X's and O's wise, but certainly TCU outclassed North Carolina. It really seemed like they had an extra guy on the field all night long. And, outside of that first drive and it's great. And let me tell you, that was college football, NFL execution to the nth degree. That opening drive by North Carolina, those scripted plays right down the field. And then after that, it was just Jimmy's and Joe's, right? And North Carolina had no answers. One of the things I did notice, again, I'm not here to break down the game, but I felt like it was the same thing that I talked about with Scotty the other day when I touched on Dave Aranda and all the new schemes that were implemented to Baylor's defense this offseason, which can complicate things for some of these young guys. And I think we might have seen the same thing with North Carolina last night. You have Bill Belichick, right, who's got a master's degree. He is the expert. He is the genius, right, on schemes and defenses. Now, at the same time, it could be a lot for some of these guys, 70 new players. And I'm not going to say that that's an excuse in today's college football, because really it's not. I have a UCF game this week for ESPN, and 58 new players for Scott Frost's UCF team. So that's sort of how it is in college football, so that you can't really, and I'm not saying Bill Belichick is looking to hide behind that. One thing I noticed, Scotty, I know you have that picture or that little bit of video. I was a little disappointed, but this is the pageantry that comes with Bill Belichick, and this is a lot of what last night was about. I've talked to you guys about prior to doing this and sports broadcasting. I did public relations, and I worked in the NBA for a while. And I had some pretty hardcore bosses. I was never in charge of running stuff. But can we put that Bill Belichick video up, Scotty? This is his post-game press conference last night. Okay. We can turn the sound off on that. So I had a couple of bosses, and I actually was messaging with one this morning. BJ Evans, he now runs he's a North Carolina A&T grad, by the way. They take on UCF this Saturday. But BJ was my boss and a good friend. And I can promise you, if he was running this shop in the third quarter when it was getting out of hand, he would have sent me into the media room and been like, hey, take down the balloons before coach gets in there post game. And I'm really surprised nobody was thinking the same thing. Hey, just let's get those balloons down, right? So Bill Belichick doesn't look like, I don't know, he's like a disappointed kid at a birthday party or something. That's kind of what it looks like. But North Carolina, nothing they could do. A huge win for TCU, and really a huge win for the Big 12 last night. I really appreciated what we saw from Josh Hoover and from Sonny Dykes, because, all the focus was on North Carolina prior to that game. And, Baylor losing to Auburn, Colorado losing to Georgia Tech. I hate to get into the conference wars, but I didn't see Florida State's win coming. I thought they'd be competitive. I didn't think they'd win. And Clemson went toe-to-toe with LSU, almost beat them. The ACC is looking pretty good. And that would have been like a death nail if they had been able, at least like, a short-term death nail, because the way it works, like, I'm not going to say it's like propaganda or anything like that, but you want to be able to talk favorably about the Big 12, right? Like doing what I do, doing some stuff for the conference. And this makes that easier. You don't have to really dress it up because TCU just absolutely hammered North Carolina last night. We got a special guest coming up. I don't want to waste any more time. Larry Brown, Super Bowl MVP. You want to bring him in now, Scotty, because he is in the waiting room. Can you do that from over there, from your new post? Larry!
How we doing, guys?
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. I really appreciate it. I didn't want to keep you waiting. I saw you there. We're going to bring you right on.
No worries.
The only, 3 Super Bowls with the Cowboys, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I mentioned Super Bowl 30 MVP. You're a TCU guy.
One frog, baby.
and you're a football analyst, so I got to get your takeaways from last night's game. First, just tell me your overall reaction as a TCU alma mater, how you felt about how the Horned Frogs and Sonny Dykes teams played.
Well, I'm happy they bounced back. Obviously they played in the national championship a few years ago, didn't fare too well, came back, had a very disappointing season behind it. So now they're kind of getting back and trying to show that, the Frogs can play good football.
Yeah, well, they played really good football last night, and I was talking about it a little bit before we brought you in here. Bill Belichick is a Hall of Fame coach, one of the greatest coaches to ever, right, oversee defenses and teams in the NFL. Do you feel like last night, though, the one thing I noticed, and you'll know way more about this than me, that, like, some of those guys could be maybe overwhelmed by an NFL scheme or a coach of that magnitude, like, and the schemes he puts in there? Is that possible?
Absolutely. I thought Belichick had a number of obstacles, meaning this. When you're a pro coach, often when you get guys from college, they've had at least a few years of development. So when you get them in the pros, you can kind of take them from what they've had. Now you're taking a kid out of high school who doesn't have that development yet, and you have to start from the beginning. So I think that was the first thing. The other thing is he's had great players in New England. When you're picking in the draft, you're picking the best of the best. It's not always like that in college. So I think people expected more than I thought was really realistic for a pro coach to come down to college. I remember when Pete Carroll came down, went to USC. He had to go get talent. He had to go get Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush. You need players. And I think what gets lost is Bill is arguably one of the best coaches ever. But he had players in New England. It wasn't just Brady. It's Ty Law. It's Willie McGinnis. It's Mike Vrabel. It's Teddy Bruschi. They got players, so it's going to take him some time to get some guys. But I think give him a couple years, he'll be fine. Yeah, we get so immersed, right? I'm big time prisoner of the moment. Last night they looked terrible, but it's a long season, right? They got Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, and then Clemson. So they can get things back on track. But for Bill Belichick, this is the last question on this. How likely is it, you think, that they can get things together this season? Or is it really just a wait and see, like you said, Larry? I think it's going to be a wait and see. And if you're Bill, you just want to try to improve each week. And, again, they're learning. People take this for granted. This is Bill Belichick's first time coaching, being a head coach in college in today's portal era, NIL era. So it's going to be a learning experience for him, but he's a smart guy. And again, I wouldn't put everything into this year, but I think they'll figure it out at some point. Well, I lied. One more on this. You've been around amazing coaches, played for amazing coaches. He has a whole different approach than, knuckleheads like I do. So take us inside his mind right now. Like, what is Bill Belichick, the coach, the football savant, thinking, right? Is he just thinking X's and O's and let's do one right thing at a time and build on it? Well, I can tell you one thing he's doing. He's evaluating. What do I have? What are their capabilities? Like most great coaches. In the pros, you can go draft a guy or trade for a guy. You can't do that in college, at least during the season. So I think he's evaluating what guys can do and what they can't do. And I think you'll start seeing some of those adjustments. If he overwhelmed them defensively, he'll make those adjustments. But you're trying to figure that all out. It's great in practice, but when you get in front of live bullets, it's a big difference. So I think you'll start to see him simplify some things and just try to focus more on execution.
All right, three-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, Larry Brown, taking the time, joining us this morning, talking about evaluating the Dallas Cowboys, right? We lose Micah Parsons last week. Obviously, the trade is what it is. You get a couple first-round draft picks. You get an all-pro defensive tackle, probably past his prime a little bit. But the Cowboys did make improvements in the offseason, Larry. I mean, you added George Pickens. The offense has to have gotten better. Are we kind of overreacting to the Micah Parsons thing and putting too much on that and losing the big picture focus, or are the Cowboys in trouble this year, as you would see it?
Well, I'd say a couple things. I think we got better allegedly on paper. You still got to go out and play the game. You know, Pickens a player, but you got to come here and make it work within the offense. I think the Mike is a big thing. He was their best defensive player, without question. So whenever you lose your best defensive player in the fashion that it went down, you know, if you're going to trade him, most people thought maybe you do it pre-draft, around the draft time. But for it to go a week before the season and it to play out like a soap opera with the owner on first take and the contract dispute and the agent said this and the agent told me to shove it and Micah said no. So I think the way that it played out, it wasn't good for the organization and it wasn't good for the team because it's a distraction. And I think everybody knows when you're getting ready for a season, and obviously Cowboys are coming off a disappointing season from a year ago. It wasn't what they wanted. You don't need distractions. And this has arguably been the biggest distraction in football a week before the season. So I'm not necessarily happy the way that it happened. And I would have thought if you wanted to trade him, if you couldn't get a deal done, maybe you move him pre-draft or around draft time. But it didn't go out that way.
But it does sound like, you know, with all your experience, you do like the fresh start maybe in the locker room. Like, okay, let's get to football. There's no more of the outside stuff. Do you think that's a benefit now, just having the situation removed?
Well, someone made a point to me to remind me. It's, the Cowboys got a couple of first-round picks, and it's going to be great. Well, if it's Tristan Hill, who you missed on out of UCF, if it's Taco Charlton, who you missed on, if it's Mozzie Smith, who you missed on, maybe you're not so excited about those picks. If you can turn those picks into something, maybe you have something. But I think the jury's out on whether or not they can turn those first-round picks into players who can come in and change the organization.
What are your thoughts on, you know, Micah on the way out the door? We hear the stuff now, like, you know, there was the lying down on the training table and, you know, maybe he was a loner in the locker room, the podcast, this and that. Larry, I look at some of your teams, man, the most amazing teams in football history. It wasn't exactly, you know, a real low-key operation. You know, there was some stuff going on there. I think if you have wildly talented players, you kind of deal with that stuff, right? Or is there more to it? Was there more to that Micah situation?
Well, we had a coach named Jimmy Johnson who you dealt with. We didn't deal with the owner, and so directly. And I think that caused a lot of friction of having the owner and the player go back and forth. But that's how Mr. Jones runs the program there now. And I said, again, it's unfortunate. And if you're Micah, you know, it's easy for him to feel undervalued. You know, he played edge, he played inside, he played outside. He did everything they asked. There's no other defensive player to play the number of spots and to do what they've asked him to do. So I'm pretty sure he felt a little bit unappreciated, undervalued. Everybody else's deal got done, but the guy you're asking to do the most, he can't get his deal done. And he's only 25. So maybe he was immature in some areas, but Jerry's a skilled negotiator. Mike is 4 or 5 years removed from college. So I thought it was really unfair the way they interacted. That's why you have agents involved and let them be that buffer between those heartfelt feelings there. But it didn't happen. So I think it became very personal for Micah. And I think it became very personal for Mr. Jones.
So you talk about Jerry, and I love your history on this. It makes me think about your teams in the 90s. You know, just to kind of give people an idea, when you and Kevin Smith were playing cornerback, right? You guys were two of the youngest corners, I think, in the league, both starting. You were very effective on the outside, and that takes away parts of what the offense can do and kind of opens up the defensive playbook. With Micah, when you have him and he's healthy and he's playing well, can you explain to people what that does for a defense and how it really can open things up? Because I think that will amplify the absence. Like, how great is it to have him on a defense?
It's a necessity. And for me, if you talk to any cornerback, you can take the greatest of all time. They'll tell you, we need pass rushers. We need guys to get after that quarterback. We can't have a quarterback holding the ball 10 seconds. So they go hand in hand. There's very few great corners who didn't play with great defensive linemen who were able to get after that passer and make that quarterback get rid of that ball. So they're going to miss those 12 sacks, 13 sacks this season. Somebody else is going to have to step up. And the other thing that Micah played for them, he didn't just play edge. Remember, Micah came in as a linebacker. He's played in the middle. He's played outside. He's played on the line. So that versatility, you're losing a guy now. You no longer have that versatility. So he really played 3 positions and did every last one of them very well. And you don't see that very often in a player that can play 3 defensive positions at a high level that he played at. So other guys are going to have to step up. We'll see who steps up and who can fill those roles.
So the Cowboys take on the Eagles on Thursday night. Obviously, and it was illustrated in that documentary, America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys. Jimmy talked about it. Getting over the hump against the Eagles was a big deal. What was your most unique experience playing at the Vet in your time as a Cowboy?
Well, they hated the Cowboys. Oh, my God. So, the Vet, it wasn't a place, even the NFC, the whole East, the Giants, the Commanders now, we call them the Redskins. It was a beast in the East. And so most people don't realize during my tenure with the Cowboys, when I first came in, 7 of the 10 Super Bowl championships came from the East. Washington won 2, Giants won 2, we won 3. So you're walking to the Lions' den there. You had to play. And they had great teams, and they had great coaches. Joe Gibbs in Washington, Parcells down in New York, and Buddy Ryan down with the Eagles. So not only as a player, but from a coaching standpoint of personalities, it was very interesting.
Well, when you talk about your experience, like with the fans, like I gotta get some of that from you. Like Veterans Stadium,
you're gonna get snowballs thrown at you. They're gonna be talking about your mom, all kind of stuff. They're trying to get under your skin. That's typical Philly. But yeah.
What do you remember the moment you guys turned the corner against them? Because that had to be a part of your building blocks, right? That esteem building moment that can help you get to the championship team you guys were in Pasadena against the Bills, in 1992. Was there a moment when you guys turned the corner against the Eagles?
One game they had 11 sacks on Troy, and they had some great football teams. Jerome Brown, Reggie White, Eric Allen, Seth Joyner. They had some teams, and we just could not only did they beat us, they were dominating us. So when we were able to beat those Philadelphia teams, it changed. It gave us the confidence that we could play with anybody. They were physical, they were fast, they were talented. So we were able, with Randall Cunningham at quarterback, they had great players, great quarterback. So when we were able to beat the Philly team, I think that gave us enough confidence that we could play with anybody. And so when we beat them the next year after they sacked Troy 11 times, the next year we actually beat them. And that really turned the hump for us. Like, we can play with Philadelphia. We know we can play with anybody.
When you were playing, it was a lot of fun to see just how good the Cowboys were. And there was like you mentioned it, everybody hated the Cowboys. Well, because they were so good, and people just like to hate the Cowboys. But that documentary, have you watched that documentary?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was interesting. It brings back a lot of moments. It's interesting to watch something when you're right in the middle of it. So I was right in the middle of everything there and didn't realize it at that time. But there were some good moments. There were some rough moments. We lost together. We won together. You saw players and coaches come and go. So that part was disappointing. And I think more importantly, we thought, had they kept everybody there together, we think we could have made a run like New England, won 5 or 6 Super Bowls. So to have to go back and talk about what if probably was disappointing for us.
What was it like for you as a player when you guys switched from Jimmy Johnson to Barry Switzer? Now, you could say that was your finest hour, right, in that Super Bowl under Switzer. But what was that change like?
For us, it was a changing in the organization. So when Jimmy got there, he was clear for one reason, to build it. By the time Barry got there, it was already built, and his job was to maintain it. So I think as players, we kind of understood where we were. We were not in that building phase anymore. We had the players, we had the staff. So I think they had 2 different duties. And I thought Barry did a good job of just transitioning and allowing what we already had to take place. Some people don't give him credit for it, but I thought he did a good job. It was also a changing of the guard about who's running everything in the organization. So we didn't just get a new head coach. At that stage, Mr. Jones decided that it is the Jones family show now. So it was two changes of the guard from a coach and from a front office standpoint.
Did you feel that tension leading up to that Super Bowl between Troy and Barry? Was that something you felt and were aware of, or did they overdo it in the doc?
I'm not going to say you felt tension. I think there was some disappointment on how their approaches were. For example, Troy was there through all the bad years, the 1-15, and the lack of accountability. So when Jimmy came in and changed the structure and started making guys accountable and chewing guys out, Troy was so afraid to go back. He didn't want to go back to where they were, a really bad team. And I think there was some fear because of the looseness that Barry allowed with the team. He did an amazing job, but he did respect you as a man, expect you to be a professional, and gave you the freedom to do the right thing on your own, where Coach Johnson ruled with an iron fist. So I think there was some fear that maybe by giving these guys that much freedom, we could go backwards. And I think that was Troy's fear a little more. But I think Barry did a good job, and I didn't sense the tension. I just thought difference in our management approaches.
So, by the way, you talked about evaluating talent. You were one of those guys who was evaluated correctly by the Cowboys. You were a steal, 12th round pick. You started corner on one of the best teams ever. And in that Super Bowl, you just make two huge plays. And the one thing I'll say, Larry, although that may have been difficult, some of the stuff to relive there, it really was a reminder of how important your performance was in that Super Bowl that led to that victory, that third win. How do you remember that? Like being in the right place at the right time, having the know-how to be there and step in front of those passes. What do you recall from that amazing night? I guess it was 1996 at the time.
Well, I think the biggest thing that Jimmy Johnson put in all of us is that he's not going to put a guy on the field who can't make plays at any position. So we understand that we have our star, we have our role players, but you guys got to make plays too. So, whether it's myself, James Washington, Alvin Harper, Kenny Norton, we had so many guys, that Darren Woodson, that can make plays. And so when it's your opportunity, you gotta carry your weight, so that was it. It wasn't just about Troy, Emmett, and Mike. We understand and Deion, we know what they're going to do, but you have to carry your weight as well when you get your opportunity. So I think every player understood that, and that's what you did.
So last question on these teams. It seems like you guys really found a way, like as much as you could say there was a lot of egos on that team, when you welcomed Deion, it seemed like everything was like pretty smooth, which takes a bunch of guys who know that the greater than, right, the team is more important than the individual. Did you sense that or understand that at the time? Like what we're doing here is very mature as a team? Because today's team, sometimes you wouldn't see an acceptance of a guy making that much money and that was that flashy into a locker room, that was that prominent.
Well, the interesting thing about the culture of our team, you had what I would call your star guys, and then you had everybody else who also thought they were stars that wasn't the star guy. So it was a whole lot of egos. So managing egos was no big deal in that team. Jimmy was able to manage that. And so when Prime got there, it was easy to embrace him because the culture and the team was strong enough to handle that personality, who's a great player, great person, so it was very easy transition. Wasn't no jealousy. It was about winning. He made us better. And, I always say, if you got a chance to get a Michael Jordan or you got a chance to get a LeBron, you'd be crazy not to. So we were no different. We understood that. We're going to make it work. And we did. And Prime made it fun. People know him as a Prime. We know him as Deion. He made it fun. We loved every minute of it. And he helped us get better. We learned a lot from him. And it all worked together for us to make us a better team.
Larry, spinning it forward now to this current team, what are realistic expectations for this Cowboys team this season?
They have to go prove it. Everyone talks about what they are on paper and what they do every year. They just haven't gone and done it. And, I think Coach Johnson, I always like to go back to him. He reminded us constantly that we're not the Cowboys, America's team, based on anything we've done because we hadn't done anything. You got to create your own legacy. And so I think this group, if they want to be considered some of those great Cowboy teams and they're part of history, they have to go create their own history. And they just haven't been able to do that at the level that Cowboy fans expected. Going to the playoffs, getting eliminated first round, second round, that's not Cowboy football. If you're not contending for championships, then you're not doing it the Cowboy way. But I'm hopeful that this group can pull it together and go prove it on paper. They have talent. I don't think there's any other team that has more talent, but you still got to go play the games. You still got to go prove it.
Do you think, as a former player, that quite possibly having a chip on their shoulder this year? Because if I was a Cowboys player, I'd be a little pissed off. I mean, all they're talking about is Micah and blah, blah, blah. Do you think that can help them? Can that motivate them a little bit?
If you have a culture of those type of players, see, we had that culture. Hey, as a matter of fact, our culture was so different that a starter did not want to get hurt because the guy behind you could probably legitimately take your spot. So, I'm not sure these guys in today's era are really worried about the guy that's backing them up. But, if you're in San Francisco and you had, Steve Young sitting behind Joe Montana and Terrell Owens sitting behind Jerry Rice, you better come show up. Or if you're the Cowboys and with Jimmy Smith and Darren Woodson backing up and Larry Allen backing up Nate Newton, hey, you better get it in gear. So hopefully these guys can take pride and have that chip that you're talking about to say, hey, let's go prove that we can win and do it, because you have to do it when you have guys. We had a number of guys get injured that we had to win games with. Troy missed some time and Mike missed a game, but we had to step up. So hopefully these guys got enough pride and chip on their shoulder to say, hey, let's pull together and let's go play good football.
Larry Brown, NFL football analyst, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Thanks so much, man, for taking some time this morning.
I'm glad. Thank you, guys. Go
Frogs,
baby.
The great Larry Brown. Man, he's just about as smooth as an analyst as he was as a player, and he was pretty damn smooth. All right, we'll take a break. The Pete Sousa Show continues after this. We are presented by Slovacics.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
OsleyMD.com. I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again. OsleyMD.com.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at GolfPartnerUSA.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GolfPartnerUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress. It's like a wearable hug for your nervous system that helps you calm down and feel better. The Apollo wearable will send gentle vibrations to your body, like a song you can feel instead of hear. You feel better, you sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrencoScience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Angles 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Angles90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Pete Sousa Show. We are now 90 minutes. Great to have Larry Brown, Super Bowl MVP, with us. Wild morning here. I was driving on 35. As I got closer, I was like, probably 30 minutes away, and just talking to my man Murph on the phone, and it was like someone took a sniper, just shot my back left tire, and it was like whoosh, 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 whoosh. Bump, 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 bump. I got the dog in the back. She pops up, she's like, yo, what's going on, man? So I pull over. I see that part of the tire, like the outer layer, is just toast. And as it came off, part of it whacked the back fender. Like, I'm no, car guy, but this is not ideal, right? Now I'm like, the tire is not flat, but it is scarred, and depleted, and I was down to like a donut. So I thought, okay, I can just drive. I'll put my hazards on. I was like, I'm making a commitment to myself. I'm not going to be the flat tire guy. I mean, if you got to be, you got to be. But I'm not being the flat tire guy today. So I literally rode 50 miles per hour on a donut, basically, that at any moment I felt could have just completely exploded. And I made it here. And I made it here because I love the Rogue Media Network, and I love being able to chat with Scotty Swingler about Baylor football, especially after they get crushed. So I do want to check in with the Bears real quick, and this is just my quick little philosophy here, okay? And Scotty, you can pop in from, I don't know what the hell he's doing over there, but it's a new setup, and it could work. Ooh, it is working. Can you make it? Yeah, dude, that's great. There you go. Score one for Swingler. All right, please bear with me yesterday. You and Terrence Ganaway.
Terrence Ganaway, 2011 Alamo Bowl MVP.
6 touchdowns?
Record setter, I think 5.
Five touchdowns in a bowl game.
Had Baylor's single season rushing record for a decade.
Yeah.
Before Abram Smith broke it. So.
Terrence Ganaway was pretty damn good. And so anyways, Scotty says they're being optimistic. And I have a reason.
Well, I was being optimistic.
Terrence was not.
Ganaway needs to see something.
I agree. Well, you need to see something defensively, right? I agree. Now, they're a 3-point underdog this Saturday at SMU, 11 a.m. start. Then, of course, they're going to be favored against Samford. They'll probably. Thanks, Bear. Yeah, no problem. I can do that. So they're going to be favored against Samford at home. They will be a home underdog against Arizona State, I would imagine. They're on the road at Oklahoma State. I would imagine they'll be favored in that game. Then they're back home against Kansas State, who I think we can agree at this point just might be a little overrated. We're in that number 17 ranking. So I there's a runway here for Baylor to put things back together. And they can do it by the middle of March. Again, even your big conference games. Yeah, Chris Visser just weighed in about the mic too. See, people actually give a shit about what you're saying, which is terrifying to me. Yeah, Visser thinks you're actually good at this. I'm still, jury's still out over here.
I made one mistake.
Well, let's drop in real quick. I want to find out. So in summary, though, I think obviously Baylor's an underdog against SMU, right? You win against Samford.
Wait. Are we just assuming Baylor's going to lose to SMU? Because I think Baylor's going to win.
You think Baylor will win that game?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good. And then after that, you have Samford, a win. Arizona State at home. That's like 50-50, really. Anything can happen. Hold on. And then you got Oklahoma State. I think you'll win that. Kansas State's not great. TCU, they look like world beaters last night, but I think North Carolina's terrible. Then you have Cincinnati. Then you have UCF. I am not scared of a Big 12 opponent until November when they play Utah. And then they still have Arizona and then Houston.
Wait, you're more afraid of Utah than Arizona?
No, that's the one. Sorry. That's the one, but we kind of, yeah.
Give some respect to the
Yeah.
chance.
Okay, no question. So I'd like your impressions coming off of, obviously, please bear with me, which people can get, Spotify, YouTube. Yeah. Yeah.
Live yesterday. We were usually live on Sunday nights, but my birthday was Sunday, so we went live yesterday.
It was?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thanks.
How old?
I'm old now. I'm officially old.
What are you, 30? 33. That's not old. That's not old. Jesus died when he was 33. I do know
That's
that.
what somebody said.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me, "This is about to be the worst year of your life because it's the year that Jesus."
Yeah.
Somebody in the room immediately responded, "Yeah, but it's also the year Jesus rose from the dead."
Hey. I mean, a lot of emotions.
Said the mic is still dead. I don't think I believe him.
Visser says you need to turn the mic on, and I think Visser's like no nonsense. Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm sad everybody missed my joke. All right, we're gonna try this one more time. We're learning.
Yeah, we are. So are you going to go back over there? Or are you going to stay here?
I'll be back.
All right, we're going to try one more time. So I think the Baylor is in pretty good shape. I think the schedule lines up very well for them. Just quickly to dip back into the North Carolina topic we got a chance to touch on.
Hey, everybody.
At the beginning of this. Bill Belichick and North Carolina, they have an opportunity to catch their breath as well. Opportunity, I would say. I will say realistically, the team that I saw last night could not only lose to Charlotte, they could lose to my Richmond Spiders. They play Richmond in 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, I could get Matt Davis on the phone. I could get Sean Barber on the phone. I could get Winston October on the phone, Mark Megna. Like, these are guys from my Richmond team, not household names. They will tell you that our team, we could have beaten these North Carolina players. This is a team that took my team in 96, Thomas Jones, Aaron Brooks, Patrick Kearney, James.
Can I share the text you sent me last night?
James Ferrier. Hold on. James Ferrier. Like, what I'm saying is that North Carolina team, like, they really need to make some changes because they could lose to Charlotte and they could lose to Richmond, or they could turn it around and find their footing against those two teams. But it's not like North Carolina can't lose to those teams. Go ahead.
I sent Pete a text last night. I believe when TCU was only up like 28-7.
No, it was after the first half touchdown. The second half touchdown. The 75-yarder, yeah.
Yeah. And I said something like, "Belichick sucks, dude. I told you." And Pete responded, "How do you like your steak?"
Because the bet is a steak. I think I had above 6 wins, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't look good right now. Doesn't look good. All right, let's wrap up. I want to wrap up our Baylor point here.
Oh, okay, great.
So please bear with me yesterday. Obviously, you can find it everywhere. What was the overall sentiments? Like, where is Baylor Nation right now?
Baylor Nation's frustrated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that are asking questions once again about Dave Aranda's ability to serve as a head coach, particularly to motivate his team to play big opponents. I thought my friend Terrence Ganaway made a very good point, which was a lot of the issues came down to details and doing little things correctly. So whether it's the inability to punt or kick off, that was a struggle for Baylor Friday night.
Yeah.
The inability to fill gaps on basic run concepts, little things like that are ultimately what killed Baylor. And it's really frustrating when you've got this coach who's celebrated as being such a defensive mastermind, but you can't stop a quarterback read. like the read option. That's really, really frustrating. So a lot of people are frustrated. What I pointed out, and Terrence is with me, Baylor's entire season is still in front of them. There's a story where this could be the best thing that happens to this team. And
I agree.
Turn it around, kick it into gear. This is a little slice of humble pie, and they win the Big 12 from here. There's also a scenario where it's the opposite. And I think this game, this weekend has become a must-win. I like Baylor.
A must-win?
Must-win.
Hold on, pump the brakes. A must-win, a non-con game? I mean, you could still go to the Big 12 title game.
I don't care. You got to beat SMU. If you lose to Auburn and SMU, because I've said all along, Pete, Baylor can lose one of these two games.
I told you they could be 1-3 after this stretch. I said it in February.
Man, I think you have to win this game in Dallas. And it's not about a resume thing, Pete. It's about like the psyche.
Uh-huh.
It's like you thought, and what I pointed out at the start of the show, you came out, Baylor Athletics, this game felt like I was a student again. And in case you haven't tuned into the Pete Sousa show before, my freshman year, we won a Heisman Trophy, and my junior and senior year, we won the Big 12. So I literally had the best 4 years of Baylor football when I was on campus. And I felt that energy again from Baylor Athletics. Mike Singletary's on the hype video at the beginning of the game. I don't think he's ever done one in stadium like that. It was electric. The chrome gold helmets we talked about, the crowd all blackout. Like Baylor fans kind of suck sometimes at doing these promotional, like wear white, wear black, stripe the stadium. No, they all showed up in black. Stadium looked good, full, packed house. And the team didn't perform. The psyche of this team, if they lose on the road to SMU, they go down 0-2, and then that stadium's going to be empty against Samford, bro. It already might be just because it's Samford.
Yeah.
But I'm really worried about the momentum and the psychology and the mentality of this team if they can't beat SMU on the road. I'm really worried about it.
Did Terrence say anything about is there any concern from a former player like that there's too much going on for these guys defensively? Like Dave Aranda, like I almost think Scotty idle time was the devil's workshop for him. Like he's focused on defense, so he reinvented the wheel. And some of those guys were
what's so frustrating about that, Pete, though, is that's not what I saw on tape.
Okay.
Or when I was at the game. He was playing basic 2 high safety shell.
Then what's the problem?
I don't know. It was, I mean, Dave said it and Terrence said it. It was like run fits. It was like linebackers over pursuing the fake handoff. That's what enabled the Jackson Arnold runs. That's what enabled some play action pass. It was like totally undisciplined linebacker play, which is really disappointing from the linebacker guru, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think Keaton Thomas played a pretty good game, but whoever was next to him was over pursuing a lot. And then, your defensive line just completely got manhandled. And that's the last point I'll leave you with, Pete, unless you have a specific question. This game, I'm still struggling with it 4 or 5 days later. Nuked my vision of what college football is.
Well, no.
I'm completely adapting to this reality that I was wrong, because I'm right most of the time, as you know. But I was wrong about this. I thought all those Auburn fans who were in my mentions for 2 weeks talking about our lines are going to push you around because we're the SEC. I thought that was garbage. I was like, dude, we've got good linemen. We're like Big 12. Like, screw you. Like, what do you mean? That's a myth. SEC superiority is a myth. Conference to conference still might be a myth. But, bro, up front, they were right. They were absolutely right. Their defensive line made it really difficult for one of the best run blocking teams in the Big 12 to do anything for Bryson Washington. And their offensive line made our defensive line look very, very pedestrian. In fact, no, that pedestrian is too weak a word. Very bad. They made our defensive line look very bad. And
But we knew this. We knew this. You knew that.
I did.
That was the one thing I always had.
I thought we could compete. I thought we could compete up front. We didn't even compete up front. We competed on the outside. I said before the game, I'd rather have Baylor's receiving core. That is still true. I'd rather have Baylor's quarterback. That is still true.
Very much so.
But the trenches were different. It was different. So I'm still recovering from that. I'm disappointed. But that's where we got to go out against SMU, who I don't believe the trenches are that different. And change the narrative. Do the opposite.
Well, here's the good news. You'll never see another team like that for the rest of the season unless you play in a bowl game against one of them.
But you hope this team still has playoff aspirations. So you better the rest of the season.
I do.
Figure it out.
By the way, I think they could make the playoffs. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one game early in the season against an SEC opponent, and we don't know. Auburn could be very good this year.
And that's what I said. If Auburn finishes top 2 or 3 in the SEC, this game looks. I mean, because really, it's a 2-touchdown game. It didn't feel like.
No, it was a 1-touchdown game.
It didn't feel like that big of a gap. I mean, the kick return obviously completely changed everything, and that matters. There were 2 of the worst calls I've ever seen on the
they were bad.
That went against Baylor. It was a call and a no call that went against Baylor that really made it tough. You don't blame the refs for losing. Baylor should have won that game in a method of ways, but yeah, dog. I was really disappointed. And if Auburn finishes like 7th, 8th in the SEC again, this is bad. It's a bad loss for the Big 12, for Baylor. Not acceptable. How do you turn Scotty's week around? Go beat SMU Saturday.
It's because of birthday week.
Birthday week sucked. My best friend's getting married on Saturday, though. We would love nothing more for a wedding gift for him than to go just like curbs.
What time's the wedding?
7. We're all going to watch the game.
Okay, that's cool. So there's no like resentment of the friend, because a lot of times
resentment because a couple of us would be there. Obviously,
a fall wedding is like, this
is my second best friend from Baylor. By the way, I've got like 4 or 5 buddies from Baylor.
Yeah.
I'm still like.
That's a good sign. That means you're socially balanced, and that's
our
good.
Friend group's been tight since college. 2 of them now got married during a Baylor football game.
Yeah.
One of them was Baylor TCU.
It's hard.
Like, what are we doing, guys?
It's hard. Well, we're probably doing what our fiance wants us to do.
Well,
that's like everybody else.
Your fiance should know that football is a priority.
June 6th. That's why I'm getting married. Come on. We know who rules the roost. All right. What are we doing the McConaughey thing now that I have you?
Oh, do you want to do it now?
Yeah. I mean, we can do it now, and then we can go to break, and then we can do one last one. But you can take as long as you want.
This is my college football take. All right.
This is real, by the way. I'm going to chime in on this. Go ahead.
You don't even know what I'm going to say.
But I have a take on the whole McConaughey thing. Go ahead.
Move me over here so it looks like I'm looking at you when I actually look at you. See that? Isn't that nice? All right. Arch Manning. It was not good. It was not good the other day. I've said all offseason, not to be like, I was right again, but here we go. I said all offseason, we're acting like this guy is the for sure number 1 pick when Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier have put great things on tape for multiple years now. We don't know who Arch Manning is. I still think Arch Manning could be very good, but here's my question for you. Do you know what the title of Matthew McConaughey's first book is?
Green Lights.
Right. So the question before Arch Manning on this Tuesday. It's Tuesday now.
But it's basically Monday.
It feels like Monday.
Yeah.
I had a weird Monday yesterday with Labor Day. But the question before Arch Manning was Saturday a bunch of red flags or just a bunch of green lights? Because you see, when life throws you a curveball, if you will. I know we're mixing baseball and football here, but you're gonna go with me. They're both Texas, okay? You have a choice. You can either view those curveballs as red flags, or you can view them as green lights. What I think Coach Sarkisian's going to do is he's going to teach this young man that this is just a green light. You lose this week 1 game to Ohio State, the defending national champion. You had a drive to win the game. You were so damn close. But let me tell you something. You're going to get to see those boys again in about 4 months, and that game's going to mean something. And this is the game that was your green light. Because from here, you just go. From here, you cross that intersection. You make it to the other side. And you drive as fast as you can, Buckaroo. Hey, Arch Manning. Texas still believes in you, buddy. This is your green light. That's it. That was my point.
Hold on, Arch. We're actually passing the torch here officially to Glenn Powell. So forget everything that McConaughey said. Glenn's our new guy. Do you buy that? Like, is there a transfer of power happening before our eyes with Glenn Powell and McConaughey? By the way, here's what I think, and honestly, I know that's a question people are pondering. Quick thought: no way. McConaughey's star completely outshines Glenn Powell, as does his connection to the university. Whether he created it or not, I don't know, but I am way more in the McConaughey camp than Glenn Powell.
Glenn's a talented young man. He's a good actor. I like working with him, but I tell you, there's only one minister of culture at the University of Texas.
Only one.
Only one. And
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey.
And only one of those guys was what's your movie? Inception? No, what is the one you like? Interstellar. Now, why do you like Interstellar?
Oh my gosh, I did not expect this time.
No, because you have one line. Because it's Matthew McConaughey in space, baby.
That is what I told you, isn't it? Matthew McConaughey in space, baby. How could you go wrong?
You can't go wrong with that. All
Come
right.
on, Tars.
Well, we're coming back here.
You got this, Tars.
We're coming back. We talked to Larry Brown about the Cowboys. I have a quick take about the Cowboys. I did not want to share this in front of Larry Brown because I would worry like that he might judge me or become offended. But I find it interesting that the Cowboys are trying to paint Micah Parsons in a certain light. As we get set here now to start this football season, the Cowboys, of course, kick off against the Eagles on Thursday night. God, it's 2 days away now. But yeah, I have an opinion on some of the propaganda that we're seeing. Of course, produced by the Dallas Cowboys. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. We'll be back in just a few short moments.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. At Toussaint's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Toussaint's.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com. BizChair.com. Your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kitbag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
Is the Pete Sousa Show, rocking and rolling. Zach, we're going like an extra 25 minutes today, 20 minutes. Just so you know. Does that screw you up?
No, you're just in Cam's segment 2. You remember that, right?
Oh, I'm in his segment 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what he texted me.
Oh, I thought he meant segment 2 for Locked on Baylor, which I'm doing with him today. I didn't know I was doing a double shot of Cam. That's fine. We can do 15 minutes on this last segment.
Locked on Baylor.
Yeah. A double shot of Cam. That's for me today. All right, so I'll be chatting with Cam in a little bit. I do want to say I got one more Micah Parsons thing. By the way, we are going to have Sal Palantonio joining the show tomorrow to talk about what else? Eagles, Cowboys, right? But I wanted to get into the Cowboys, and it's, we put up, by the way, our interview yesterday with Wayne, the voice of the Green Bay Packers. Go check it out. Packers fans are gobbling it up. It's close to like 10,000 views now. And it's always fun when you see all the views and you see that people are watching all the way through. And that those are Packers fans for you, right? So we love that. And some Cowboy fans were complaining a little bit. But this is the Cowboys' reality right now. What's not reality, and this is my opinion, okay? And I want to jump in the time machine. When Micah got traded, I listened to the Doomsday Podcast, which is put together by Rogue Media employees, Matt Mosley and Ed Werder. Okay, you could call them, they are Cowboys insiders. And Mosley made a point, right? And it was a great point, and it was emphatic, and he rarely drives home stuff like he did. His point was, hey, people were pissed off in that organization about Micah laying down on that training table during that preseason game. And to me, that was like, okay, what Mosley's saying is true. Like, that was a bridge too far. And Matt, I'm sure, heard it from somebody high up in the organization that was probably it, right? And right, wrong, or indifferent. So there is merit to the real component of frustration within the organization. Now, that being said, throughout this negotiation stuff, I feel like there has been a little bit of a smear campaign towards Micah. And I think it's been a little bit of like, Micah's a loner. Micah has his podcast. Maybe that's changed him, right? Like this is stuff that's coming out of the Dallas Cowboys front office or Jerry Jones's camp, right? And whether on purpose or by mistake, right? The leaks. And that is something that the Cowboys are doing the best they can to have that sort of follow him to Green Bay. And certainly is one of the reasons that they're pointing to. Maybe it's like this. They're pointing like this. But it's one of the things they're pointing to as they justify the Micah Parsons trade. Right, for 2 first-round picks and a 30-year-old former all-pro defensive tackle, who I think will be great for the Cowboys. I really do, but he's not going to be Micah Parsons. But it's ironic having watched the documentary on the Cowboys, and I got to say, like, I read it in the Jeff Pearlman book about all the Boys Will Be Boys was the book, but I read about all the off-the-field stuff and the Cowboys. And I lived some of it, right? Like Michael Irvin getting arrested, Eric Williams in the car accident, Michael Irvin having a hit out on him by a legitimate hit that somebody went to prison for. And the guy who went to prison was a Dallas police officer who was, I guess, a common law husband of a stripper that Michael Irvin was in and out of a relationship with and used to party with. Real stuff, documented, like paperwork behind this. Okay. Like, so that's a window into Jerry's Cowboys, right? The wild Cowboys. Woo! Let me tell you, this was a wild ride. You know, Michael Irvin's, he stabbed Everett McKeever with scissors. God damn, we were crazy. You know, like that's the feeling you get about the 90s Cowboys, right? Like crazy stuff was going on. But Micah Parsons is a bit of a loner and has his own podcast. No. That wouldn't. No. You can't have that around here. You're being selfish. You're not a good teammate. People in the locker room don't like him. It's like, dude, what are we talking about here? Like, if you've ever done anything with anyone who is spectacular, and I mean spectacular, okay, they're going to have some hang-ups. Maybe you could say something that's more manageable. They're going to be unique, right? They're going to be interesting. That's what you would call Micah Parsons if the Cowboys were on board with him, and if at some point he didn't hurt Jerry's feelings by making sure that his agent would get involved following a handshake deal. I just find it terribly ironic that here we are, right? 30 years removed from those great Super Bowl teams, as the Cowboys of present day chase those ghosts, right? As was illustrated literally by Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones in this documentary. But part of that history is extremely jaded and it's messy. And it came with some of the most talented players on the Cowboys roster. But now the most talented guy on the roster has a couple of like things about him that might make him a little different and not the greatest locker room guy. And we're going to ship him to a conference rival who, by the way, has your number. Okay. Whether, yes, it was a catch, right? It's still a catch, the Dez Bryant stuff, or, you know, getting your ass handed to you by them at home in the playoffs 2 years ago. Like, the Packers are not your friends. They're not the Eagles, but they're not your friends. So you don't send your best player there, or maybe you do, right? And maybe you find a way to make it all and massage it and make it go away. But that in itself, right? The Micah Parsons is quite possibly difficult and a loner and the laying down on the training table. To make that like, oh, that's why he's leaving. It's right up there with Luka is fat and out of shape and he eats too much. It's bullshit, dude. And like, the one thing I would advise folks that listen to this show, watch this show, like, and I don't want to get too weird about this and use certain terms, but like, let's not all be sheep, dude. Like, I'm not a sheep. Jerry Jones is not the shepherd, right? Nico Harrison is not the shepherd. All right. Like, ask some questions. I think we do a pretty good job of that. Like, that's one thing I learned. Like, I would never call myself a journalist, but I did work in TV news for like 7-8 years. I just don't take myself that seriously. And I know who like real journalists are. Yeah, I did some good stories, but I'm not a journalist. But like, I would encourage fans to sort of get curious and ask some questions, right? That's all I'm saying. I think you guys do a pretty good job of that on your own. All right, we're going to wrap up today. We went 70 minutes. And because I have to do a segment that I didn't know I was doing on the Cam Stewart show. So I want you to go watch that. And Prize Picks, make sure you go to Prize Picks, right? Get involved. It's a new sponsor of our show. We're going to have great reads about Prize Picks probably tomorrow. But if I were to go on and on about Prize Picks, it wouldn't be specific to the read. And I don't want to do any more. But just remember, Prize Picks is a place to go. And also, Slovakics. Don't forget that. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Savachix. The Pete Sousa Show will be back tomorrow with the great Sal Palantonio. Eagles, Cowboys, dude. We're a couple days away. All right? We'll see you guys tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.